will be used again. Okay, let's take a look at this first multiplication. We have negative 5a cubed over 3b cubed times 2b squared over 15a. Notice the numbers are multiplied together first, and for the top and the bottom, and then also that our variables are also multiplied together. So notice that we have a's and b's on top and bottom, and we're going to use the exponent rules to cancel. So that's why we reviewed exponent rules, okay? And notice that when we do that, we're going to have a b left on the bottom, and then two a's on the top, okay? Notice also that we simplified our numbers by dividing each number negative 10 and 45 by 5, okay? So this is the easiest type of rational functions to do, is the multiplication ones. Let's take a look at this multiplication one. Notice that we have 3x plus 6 over 14 times 7x squared over x cubed plus 2x squared, okay? And we're going to factor out the 3 in the 3x plus 6, and we're going to factor out the x squared in 3x cubed plus 2x squared. Right? And so we're going to go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. Alrighty, now you should be able to see that we can cancel things, okay? Like the x plus 2 can be canceled. One's in the numerator, one's in the denominator, and then our x squareds can be canceled. Now at this point, I personally would have canceled out the 7 and the 14, but this example, PowerPoint does not, but you'll notice 21 over 14 is just going to become 3 over 2. Okay. All variables cancel, leaving only numbers. Remember to reduce. Let's take a look at this. So we have a 4x plus 8 divided by 7x squared minus 14x. Then we have another quadratic, 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 over a 9x squared minus 1. Do you see what type of factoring are we going to have to do here? Okay, not only do we have to factor the 4 out of 4x plus 8 and the 7 out of the 7x squared minus 14x, but we also must factor the trinomial 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 and the 9x squared minus 1. Okay, so I'm going to do a brief, I'm going to show you how we get this, okay? Remember when we're factoring the trinomial here, you want to multiply the 3 and the negative 2, so you would get negative 6, okay? Negative 6. And then notice over here, the middle term here is a negative 5. So you want to look at your factors like negative 6 maybe and 1. These are factors. Or maybe negative 3 and 2. Okay. Notice that when we multiply negative 6 times the negative 1, we would still get negative 6. And when we add these, we get the negative 5. Okay. If we add negative 3 and 2, we're just going to get negative 1. Okay. So that means that the ones that we're able to use are going to be negative 6 and 1. And you might be wondering, well, how does this work? So what happens is that negative 5x, we wind up doing this. And we did review this for Unit 3. So we're going to wind up with a negative 6x. And then I have a plus x and a minus 2. Okay. And then that's going to wind up being, so what happens is I wind up grouping these together. Okay. And so I wind up with the x minus 2. Well, first you have to take the 3x. If I take the 3x out of the 3x squared minus 6x, I will wind up with an x minus 2 as well. Okay. And then there is a 1 in front of this one here. And so what happens is you get a 3x plus 1. And so that's where these two factors come from. Okay. Please remember that the 9x squared minus 1 is the difference of squares because square root of 9 is 3. Always remember with the difference of squares, you have a negative and a positive. Okay. Okay. And then notice everything that cancels. Okay. And then we can take a look at what we have left. And that is the multiplication of this, and it has been simplified. All right, now we're going to look at a division. And again, remember when dividing, you will flip the x over 2y and change to multiplication. Okay. Once you do this, please remember that you are going to continue with your simplification of your problem. Okay. Alrighty, so we'll just get 7xy over 3. Let's take a look at this. Now then, what were you supposed to do as your first step? That's right, you are going to flip the second term and then notice that the 3x minus 12, we can factor out a 3. Okay, and this allows you to see that we will be able to get rid of the x minus 4, definitely in the denominator, but in the numerator we're still going to have 1 left. And then we also can get rid of the 2, divide that into the 6 for 3. Okay, and we're going to get x minus 4 over 3 times 1/3. Okay, there we go. Let's take a look at this division. Again, flip the second term so we can change this to multiplication. So in some respects, there is no division because we change it to multiplication. Okay, then again, look at what you can factor out. Please remember x minus 4 is the difference of squares. Okay, and then you can look at this 5x cubed plus 2x squared. We can take out an x squared factor. Again, much of this cancels, and then we are left with just 2 over x squared x minus 2. Okay, so the key to this is the more cancellation, the easier the problem. Alrighty, here we have, again, we will flip the second term, change to multiplication, and again, we have a lot of factoring to do. Okay, so again, the 3x squared minus 10x plus 8, you're going to multiply the 3 by the 8 for 24, and so then you need to ask yourself, which factors of 12 will multiply together when you add them will add up to negative 10, okay? And so negative 4 and negative 6 adds up to a negative 10. So you would have 3x squared minus 6x minus 4x plus 8. Then you're going to group these together. So this is how they're going to group together. You will factor the 3x out and the minus 4 out. These two, remember, wind up going into one set of parentheses, and the x minus 2 is the other set. Okay. Then we're going to factor the 7 out from the 7x minus 14. Factor out the 9 from the 9. 3 should just factor out 3 from the 9x minus 12. Okay. Again, we have a lot of cancellations happening to where we wind up with um, the number 1. Okay. And that sometimes happens. All right, again, notice how all the factoring is review and how all the rules of exponents and fractions are being used. The end, and thank you for paying attention.